And we say greetings, this is Kabanka Pyramid representing the Lion Voice blog. Make sure that them check it out and stay tuned. See? Rastafari, blessings every time.
What do you have to tell the people about Ras Tafari?
Light to the world. The king of kings and the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. I left himself. Where's my ruler? Hey yo! Yeah. Hear them high, hear the black king born the 23rd of July. So tell them guy who praise God up in the sky, it's a lie. The Almighty living on your night. From ancient time them a try. Them Romans know them just open them suit and ties. Criminals ain't got no alibi, they stole my people. Then them come spread out them genocide.
Are you talking about slavery?
Them couldn't kill. The lion will come conquer Judah tribe. Go through tribulation, and I strive, see sufferation, and I still rise. That's why we tell them in America, live Rastafari in every ghetto area. We come to tell them in a Toronto, straight at
Number 3. We have to work to eliminate slums and ghettos. The slum and the ghetto is a colonial concept. Meaning, just because it's a low-income area doesn't mean it has to be run down, garbage-ridden, nasty, full of crime. That is a concept, that's a thought, that's a disease of poverty. We can alleviate that. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be rich. But, I have a song, Mama Africa, I said we want to turn all your slums into gardens.
Love you mama, your heart never harden. I wanna turn all your slums into garden. I wanna stop all of your youths from starving. I wanna stop all of your tribes from warring.
Meaning, we could use the principles of urban agriculture, and these inner city low income areas could have gardens planted throughout. Just because there's a small space, you can look at some of the tiny homes them and see how islandful you can make a tiny space, with just your innovation, how you can utilize space using natural building materials, bamboo, certain things. If cost is an issue, we can be using natural materials. Man can have bamboo floor, bamboo furniture, all kind of thing where is low cost but can look very nice, and it doesn't have to be chaka run down and slumish or ghettoish. So we have to erase this concept. I would love to have the resources to go and house by house go through the ghetto and redesign, reimagine, and we just take an area and every year we just erase a portion of the ghetto and reimagine and redesign it as Zion. All this place would have looking as Zion. These things are the work of Rastafari moving forward, because we have to wipe out Babylon, never to be remembered Rabba Babylon anymore. And that is one of the pillars of the liberation, is to erase this correlation between low income and destitution. You can be low income and still irie. You can be low income and still live good within yourself, and within your environment. Again, using the natural materials to build, and being efficient and smart. Government investment could be putting in, for example, solar heating and things like that to reduce the cost of power to these areas. So there can be some government investments, but even without the government investment, part of the thing is that we as a people, African people, have to reject this concept of the slum and of the ghetto and transform these low-income areas into beautiful oases of urban gardens, edible things. We have food trees and different things planted up in your yard instead of zinc fence and garbage and all these things. So these things are achievable. Cleaning up the slums and the ghetto, that's number 3. Which leads us to number 4, which is the overhaul of the sanitation system. A lot of our poor areas, you see gully kind of thing. So we'd have to reimagine how we're dealing with sanitation Big up to Mama Thea, who we had on Lion Talk. Go forward and look at her episode of Lion Talk. We talked to her. She's a chemical engineer, work at the DC Water Commission, dealing with sanitation and those things. So these are things that as we grow on the channel, we're going to bring her forward to talk about how we can reimagine sanitation and how we deal with sanitation. At the KWASI project, we have the biofield sanitation, which separates the liquid and solid waste, and bacteria break down the solid waste, and you can then empty them and use them as compost for your non-edibles and different things. So at KWASI, we are already experimenting with different forms of sanitation in terms of how we deal with sanitation, but the challenge now that we're looking at is how do we scale these models for a residential community and then for a city, the cities of the future. How do we deal with the waste issue? This will also extend to how do we deal with landfill and garbage in general. In the developing world, we burn a lot of garbage. We don't have the landfill sites. And even the whole concept of the landfill. How can we come up with a better solution for waste management so that we are recycling most of the things that we need and we're reducing the impact on the landscape in terms of garbage? We're getting rid of plastics. We're using alternatives to plastic and non-perishable things, and having things that can break down naturally in the environment. So that is one of the things. So overhaul of the sanitation, which would include the drainage as well as the landfill system. Finally, number 5, how do we integrate? We have to integrate nature and modern development. So as we build more modern and futuristic, we want more green. A good example of this is Singapore and what Singapore has done in terms of integrating wildlife. If you watch Singapore, there's a nice series with David Attenborough, Wild City, I believe it's called, where they show you how Singapore, them have river otters in the city and monitor lizards are run up and down through the city, and one bag of thing, crocodiles, and they basically turn the whole island into a water catchment system, catch the water, put it into the riverways. They have fish throughout this, and modern cities right there. They plant fruit trees all over, green everywhere in the city. So these are things now, as we build, we want to include that. Why? Because we know that, first of all, purification of the air. The more green you have, the more toxins are being removed from the air, the cleaner the air that you're breathing. We also know that being in the green is good for your mental health. We also know about grounding when you walk barefoot, releasing all the energy waves that you're being bombarded with, whether it be microwave, TV wave, cell phone wave, all of them wave there. When you walk barefoot, you ground yourself, allow that energy to walk through. So, having these natural spaces, park spaces in the cities, again, water catchment, integrating the native wildlife, so the native wildlife has habitat and can coexist with humans. These are the things that, for the liberation of the continent, are going to be essential, because we have to restore that balance with Mother Nature. So those are just 5 things in terms of liberation. Of course, eliminating the colonial masters and these things, but we know the evil shall slay the wicked. And I think that once we, again, the number 2, once we create that culture of unity and we eliminate the tribalism, the colonial trickery and treachery will fade away very easily, because that's the main tool they use, divide and rule. Again, is their only plan. So once we eliminate that from the system, we're going to find a lot of things fix themselves. Another thing, again, emphasis on family. Big up Sister Aini with the sound. And you know, this channel, we are big on the restoration of the black family. Having that basic building block is a key aspect of the liberation. So much more. What did I miss? I know I missed a whole heap of things. Big up all of the sponsors. Big up CMAS. So the network is growing in before your eyes. You're getting to witness the uprising of something powerful in the earth. We are going to show the world the power of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. We have to show ourselves, because I think a lot of time as Rastafari, we don't even know our own power. So I, humbly stand before the item as an instrument of the Most High to allow us to see the greatness. My one superpower is the network, and we're going to use this platform to bring that network to the family. And we're going to do that for one reason. That reason is because the time has come for the Lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion voice. Them could never conquer the mountains. Thousands of years and counting. Ethiopia rise again unto the world. Now we are announcing. Them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. When the trumpet sound and the violence cease, how we say one go build up the cities. Well, them a plan for war, we a plan for peace. And now we see them wanna go dismantle the base. Rastafari crown as the Prince of Peace. Him tell the youths them fi build up them countries. Well, solar energy that them a see. The whole city powered by the sun's energy. The road them make out of hemp and concrete. Neighborhoods full of fruit trees that taste sweet. The youths put down them guns, them harvest and a reap. The beautiful gardens will line every street. Tired of the bloodshed, them done with the beef. Not even animals for dead, them burn out the meat. Where people say Haile Selassie, I see Nile. When they see say him a treat the dirt like a child. Peace on earth from the banks of the Nile. That's why we giving thanks in style. See say Babylon a weapon, them a stockpile. Babylon a wicked, kill them brother and smile. Lion, Babylon a reptile. Them a plant fish, shed blood, we got plans for the soil. Them a